Hey, I'm Alex. This is Code Along with Alex, and today we're going to define a command and argument for a container in Kubernetes. So let's dive right in. You need a Kubernetes cluster to follow along today, and you need the kubectl command line tool to be configured to speak to that cluster. And so I'm using Killer Coda to just simplify all that. So I encourage you to check that out, or a similar platform like Play with Kubernetes, or uh, building your own local cluster with something like Minikube. So let's read a little bit, and then we'll do some YAML appreciation like we always do. So when you create a pod, you can define a command and arguments for the containers that run in the pod. To define a command, include the command field in the configuration file. To define arguments for the command, include the args field in the configuration file. Okay, pretty straightforward so far. And the command and arguments that you define cannot be changed after the pod is created. Okay. So we'll have to recreate a pod if we want to change the commands. The command and arguments that you define in the configuration file override the default command and arguments provided by the container image. Good to know. If you define args but do not define a command, the default command is used with your new arguments. Okay. So in this exercise, we're going to create a pod that runs one container. And the configuration file for the pod defines a command and two arguments. So let me quickly toggle to the docs and we'll take a look. So you can see we have the API version, the kind, and metadata, and then we have the name, which is command demo, labels, kind of standard stuff we're used to. Then container name, image, then you can see the command is printenv, and then the arguments are hostname and Kubernetes port. So if we go back to our Killer Coda environment, let's actually create a pod based on that YAML. So like many of these examples, the YAML is stored in a URL for us just to simplify life so we don't have to copy paste that into a local file. However, let's do it anyway. So let me create a file called commands.yaml. And let me open that file. And now I'm going to paste in the contents of the YAML from the docs into this file. And we're using nano. Now we're going to press Control X to exit and yes to confirm we do want to save. So let's now confirm, and we've exited. Now to verify that we do have all that goodness in our YAML, let's print out, and you can see we do. Awesome. So now that we unnecessarily created a local YAML file, that's fun. Let's actually apply it and create a pod. So we'll do that. We're doing kubectl apply -f, and then we'll pass the name commands.yaml. Awesome. So we created our pod. Now let's list the running pods in our cluster. We do that using kubectl and running the get pods command. So you can see we have a single pod named command demo. It ran and it's completed. And so to see the output of the command that ran in the container, let's view the logs from the pod. So we'll do that again with kubectl And we'll pass logs and then the name of the pod. So you can see the output shows the value of the host name and the Kubernetes port. Environment variables. Lovely. So we could also modify the YAML to print out different things if we wanted to, but we don't need to today. But that's one of the benefits of not just applying those remote URLs in these learning exercises. When you have a local YAML file, you can nano back into it and tweak things and enhance your learning experience. But we're not going to dive into that too much right now, which is fine. But I encourage you to go for it if that is interesting to you. So next, we're going to use environment variables to define arguments. So in the preceding example, we defined arguments directly by providing the strings, but an alternative is to define arguments by using environment variables. And so this would mean that you can define an argument for a pod using any of the techniques available for defining environment variables, including config maps and secrets. And so let me quickly toggle to the docs. And this is kind of a incomplete example, but you can see where the end field and the nested name and value fields, and then command and args. And you can see how the args has a nested environment variable inside of it. Pretty cool. So if we return back to Killer Coda, let's run a command in a shell. And so there are some cases when you need to run your command in a shell. So for example, your command might consist of several commands piped together, or it might be a shell script. And so to run your command in a shell, you wrap it as such. So let me briefly toggle over to the docs again. And you can see how the command is wrapped in a shell as so. So if we open commands.yaml again, let's see if we want to tweak one thing. Have a little fun. Let's create an environment variable called message. And let's try to see this in action. I'm going to do it under the metadata field above the spec field. So let's do env dash name. I guess it's weird. Name. So we want to call it message. And then we want to call the value to be hello world. Excuse me. I'm a little parched, but now I'm better. The thirst has been quenched. Okay, next, let's modify our command to instead print out an environment variable. So let me replace the printEnv with, oops. Oh no, everything got deleted. Cancel. FG to return to nano. There we go. That was weird. Okay. Don't need a Don't need a slash there. Okay, so let me replace this printEnv command. Going off script, but having a little fun. That's all that matters. Who needs scripts? I guess actors. But there's improvisers too. Different kinds of entertainment. It's like jazz, you know what I mean? This is like live coding jazz. Okay, and then let's replace the arguments. I never was good at jazz. I like jazz, I just suck at it. I play guitar. Jazz guitar is too hard. I'm not that smart. Okay. Yeah, people say rocket science is hard. Dude, jazz guitar, jazz music, that's hard. Okay. So we've updated our YAML. Let's now save it and let's see what happens. Let's see if this works. Let's do kubectl logs command demo. Interesting. Oh. So I have to rebuild the pod. Now I remember. It even said it in the docs. You can't change commands. You have to. So I guess I got to do kubectl apply -f commands.yaml. And something's broken. Let's chill. I think it's probably just like indentation error, I'm guessing. Let me double check. It's probably the end stuff I just added. It's not super stoked on that. It's probably nested in something. I didn't realize it. And command args. I guess it's the same nesting as command. Okay. Let me try to fix that and see if that helps. I'm going to go back to Nano. Now, let's do some indentation. I guess I should probably delete this crap. Yeah, and I'll just move it elsewhere. I'll just retype it. It's fine. It's not that much. Chill. All right. So, okay. Just getting my bearings. Okay. Env. 1, 2, 3, 4. Name. Message. Value. Hello. World. Okay. Now let's update the command. Or no, so the command's good. Args are good. Let's exit out of this. Save this. We're good. Now let's run kubectl apply again. Let's hope we don't have an error. We applied some stuff. I think. Forbidden. The pod command demo is invalid. Spec forbidden. Pod updates may not change fields other than... Okay, I want to delete the pods. Do I have to delete everything? Okay. So the pod's name is command demo, right? So kubectl delete pod command demo. Nice. Okay. Now let's reapply our YAML and see if that works. I think that it was corrupted because the pod was already existing. This should be fine, in theory. Yes. Okay. Now let's run, or let's view the logs for this command and see if it updated to print out hello world. Hey, sick. Okay, cool. We're tweaking YAML, y'all. We're getting deep. Okay, and then finally, I guess let's delete this pod one more time and tweak the YAML one last time and adjust the command to run a command in a shell. Just because we can. It's fun. I guess if you're weird like me, it's fun. Maybe it's not fun for you, but it's fun for me. Okay, so let's bin shell. Let's update the arguments. We'll leave the environment variable. It doesn't really matter. It can stay. It's not going to do anyone any harm. And so we'll just do comma separated arguments while true. Do echo hello. Oh no. Do echo sup sleep 10 done. Okay. Let's save this. I guess that's Control X. Let's make sure I save that. Yeah, we did. Okay, cool. Exit out. Kubectl apply -f commands.yaml. Pod created. And now kubectl get logs. Get logs. Let's see the logs. No. Kubectl. Here you don't need a get, it's just logs. Okay. Command demo. Sub. Hey. Okay, cool. Well, this was fun. We did a little bit of tinkering with YAML. We modified the default kind of passing strings to using environment variables, and then finally a shell. And so that was pretty fun. I said fun a lot of times this time. Couple sessions back, Nginx was the word of the session, but maybe today it's fun. But thanks for hanging out with me. This was another quick one, but I think these are good, and it's been enjoyable diving back into Kubernetes and taking a little break from Rust. I'm Alex. This has been Code Along with Alex, and I hope to see you next time. Have a great day, and stay safe.